Hello everyone, it's Igcse.science.notesz. Today I'm going to basically explain lipids, which is lesson number 4 from 1A. We've finished the chemistry of life, monosaccharides and disaccharides, and polysaccharides, each in one video. Now the fourth video will be about lipids. We've discussed earlier that the organic substances or organic molecules are made of carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen, and some are made up of nitrogen, sulfur, and phosphorus, but they are less frequent. Lipids are as a group which has basically many carbon and hydrogen bonds, but less or almost no oxygen. Just to start like a good introduction, lipids are another group of organic substances that play a vital role in organisms. There are many uses, such as that it has an integral part of the cell membrane and that's also used in energy storage. Look over here in the vocabs, they explained lipids as that it's a large family of the organic molecules that are important in cell membranes. This is the first use, and an energy store, which is the second use, in many organisms. They include triglycerides, phospholipids, and steroids. We're going to talk about phospholipids in this chapter or the one after. Anyways, information is that when lipids are oxidized in the respiration process, the bonds are broken and carbon dioxide and water are the final products. We've discussed that in the respiration reaction. We know that it's glucose plus oxygen gives carbon dioxide plus water. In the previous chapter, we said that there is also lots of ATP. Here it shows that this reaction can be used to drive the production of much ATP as well, and we've discussed it in the earlier chapter if you want more details about it. Lipids, especially triglycerides, store about 3 times as much energy as the same mass of carbohydrates. How can I remember this? Look at this. Triglycerides, 3 times. We've said that tri means 3, right? So it's just like 3 times. Okay, triangle 3, pent 5, hex 6, mono 1, di 2. Okay, so many plants and animals convert spare food into oils or fats as an energy store to use when needed. For example, seeds of plants contain lipids to provide energy for the seedling when it starts to grow, which is why seeds are much important food source for many animals. There are 2 important types of lipids, right? And we've discussed them earlier, which are fats and oils. Quick, it could be actually like a new information is that fats mainly come from animal sources, while oils mainly come from plant sources. Let me tell you this. First of all, the fats and oils, as we mentioned, they are important groups of lipids. However, they're very chemically similar. But fats, such as butter, are solid, whereas oils, such as olive oils, are liquid. We've said now that fats come mainly from animal sources, while oils mainly from plants, right? Here, such an example is olive oil or sunflower oil. Look, they came from plants. So oil is mainly from plant sources, and it's mainly oil, which is liquid, right? Whereas fats, which mainly comes from animal sources, such as butter, is mainly solid. Okay? Okay. Earlier in this video, we've said that organic molecules, or organic substances, organic compounds, mainly come from carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. And in this one, it's mainly more of carbon and hydrogen bonds and almost no oxygen, right? So, like carbohydrates, the chemical elements that all lipid molecules contain are carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. Why didn't it change here? However, lipids contain a much lower proportion of oxygen than carbohydrates. This is easy till now. Let's start into new things. Fats and oils contain 2 types of organic chemical substances. fatty acids and glycerol. So basically, the fats and oils are made of fatty acids and glycerol. We've mentioned earlier that it's monomers and polymers and stuff, right? So here, for example, we've said that sucrose is made up of glucose and fructose. Lactose is made up of glucose and galactose. Maltose is made up of glucose and glucose. Fats and oils are made up of fatty acids and glycerol. Okay? So, pardon. Here. So over here. Here. The definition of fatty acids is basically organic acids with a long hydrocarbon chain, and the glycerol is propane 1,2,3-triol, an important component of the triglycerides. That's it. Okay, so these are combined, which is basically fatty acids and glycerol, are combined using ester bonds. You remember what's ester bond from chemistry OL? Ester bonds is basically bonds formed in condensation reaction. We've mentioned what is condensation reaction and explained it in the first or second video. To sum up, condensation reaction is basically the reaction which has removal of water. Okay? Okay. Between the carboxylic group, the COOH of a fatty acid, and one of the hydroxylic groups, which is the OH of the glycerol. Okay, that's complete. This is the ester bond. The glycerol has this formula, which is C3H8O3. All fatty acids have a long hydrocarbon chain, a folded backbone of carbon atoms with hydrogen atoms attached, a carboxylic group COOH at one end. Living tissues contain more than 70 different types of fatty acids. Fatty acids vary in two ways: either the length of the carbon chain, which can differ, it's often between 15 to 17 carbon atoms long, or it can differ from the fatty acid, which can be either saturated or unsaturated. Saturated fatty acids means that a fatty acid, a fatty acid in which each carbon atom is joined to the one next to it in the hydrocarbon chain by a single covalent bond, and it's saturated, right? The unsaturated fatty acid, which is a fatty acid in which the carbon atoms in the hydrogen carbon chain have one or more double covalent bonds in them. So basically the difference is that here it has joined to the one next to it by a single covalent bond, while here one or more double covalent bonds. Okay. In a saturated fatty acid, which has only one single bond, each carbon atom is joined to the one next to it by a single covalent bond. A common example is the stearic acid. In an unsaturated fatty acid, the carbon chains have one or more double covalent bonds between carbon atoms in them. We've discussed that. Now, a really new, but easy keyword is the monounsaturated fatty acids. Let's discuss what's monounsaturated. Okay, so we have the word mono. Pardon, here, black. And let's just, okay. We have the word mono. And we have the word un. And then the word saturated. Now it's easier for everyone to know it. Mono, as we discussed earlier, it means one. Un means one or more double bonds. And saturated is just like saturated, you know. So basically here, mono unsaturated fatty acids is a fatty acid with only one. Here, only one. Okay? So only one, which is from the word mono. And then double covalent bond, which is un. So double covalent bond. And lastly, between carbon atoms in the hydrocarbon chain, which is here. Between carbon atoms in one hydrocarbon chain. Here, hydrocarbon chain. Okay. A polyunsaturated fatty acids also has the same thing, which is poly. Poly is more than one. So two or more. So fatty acids with two or more double covalent bonds between carbon atoms and the hydrocarbons chain. Last keyword is basically the esterification. Esterification is the process by which ester bonds are made only. Okay, so let's discuss now. Let's just complete. Here, a monosaturated fatty acid has one carbon-carbon double bond, and a polyunsaturated fatty acid has more than one carbon-carbon double bond. Linoleic acid is an example of the polyunsaturated acid, and it's essential fatty acid in our diet because we cannot take it from other substances. I want to show you something now. This is figure C, a monosaturated acid. Okay, figure C here is stearic acid, which is a saturated fatty acid. It has only single bonds, right, between the carbon ones. However, here, which is linoleic acid, which is a polyunsaturated, has more than one double bond. So it has two double bonds. First of all, having double bonds means it's means it's unsaturated. Having two double bonds means it's poly. Okay, let's go. Sorry, having two or more. So here's the third. Two or more. Of course, two is only what is it called? No, sorry, poly. Yeah. So this is the finish of. We're done. If you'd like to have the book, I've posted it on the Telegram channel. I'll leave its name in the description. If you want to check the handwritten notes, you'll find them on the Instagram account, which is also there in the description. However, it's Igcse dot science.notesz. That's it. Let's just finish this by putting a pretty cute, simple double tick, because why not? Bye bye.